I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams and wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out.
That's nice and easy, eh?
Oh, kia ora friends. The next person to join us for Short Stories with RJMC is none other than Will Jackways, aka Will J. How you going, Will?
Good, mate. Yeah, doing alright, yeah.
I've prepared some questions, I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
This is what we call the basics.
Cool.
We met through snowboarding.
We did.
And so Short Stories is going to be based in snowboarding. So I want to pick out a moment.
Oh.
Like, do you remember that moment that you knew snowboarding was becoming everything, or was everything?
For me,
Was there a moment?
One particular moment. Yeah, there probably was, yes. Let's think here. I skied from a young age, and when I transitioned into snowboarding in my late teens, mid to late teens, I started to do okay in local competitions, picked up a few local sponsors, and was about to embark on my first trip away overseas, and I got selected in the junior New Zealand team for a junior world championship tour, or it was like a stop, and I ended up doing quite well at one of the events. It was in France. I was only 17, I think. Whew. Yeah, snowboarding, I always loved it, you know, when I started and growing up, and then when I went to that event, I did pretty well in the border cross of all disciplines.
Yep.
And a lot of people told me after the event that they thought that, you know, potentially I might have had a career in snowboarding, just with the way that I showed promise in my riding, I guess, and the way that I adapted to snowboarding. So I think from that stage I realised, once I got an okay international result as a youngster, and I was just getting paid to snowboard at that stage, I think that might have been the moment in time that I realised this is what I'd like to do for the next while. Yeah,
it's mean. So you're quite deep. You're in a junior national team.
Yes.
In a foreign country competing.
Yeah.
And then you've decided, well, geez, maybe snowboarding is becoming everything.
Well, I played so much sport growing up as a kid. Mum and Dad are both qualified phys ed teachers. They both met at teachers' school in Dunedin. So sport was always a huge part of my upbringing from a young age right the way through to even today. But in my teenage years, I played, you know, rugby, cricket, basketball, golf, squash. I surfed, I ran, I did all sorts. So snowboarding was just a small part of that, you know, weekend activities. And as much as I enjoyed it as a hobby then, I didn't really think that I would end up pursuing it, just because I enjoyed playing so many other sports.
So for a while, you just thought snowboarding was just another thing you did.
Kind of, it was.
It wasn't everything. It was just another thing you did.
It definitely was that, because I lived in Wanaka back then, and it was just as easy to go and snowboard as it was to, you know, play rugby with my friends, and I was in
soccer.
Played representative cricket, soccer, basketball, golf, and all those sports gave me just as much satisfaction back then as what snowboarding gave me.
Okay.
But I did skateboard from a young age, and that helped with the transition into snowboarding.
Okay.
From being a skier, and I think, I mean, I don't know at that young age if I knew exactly that snowboarding, how big an impact it was going to play on my life, because I was only 16, right? I didn't know really what was around the corner at that age.
Fun thing to do.
Exactly. So it was a weekend hobby, and I enjoyed it, and I guess you know, maybe naturally progressed. Cool.
So winning a border cross in France at 17 was like, okay, I'm going to have a nudge at this.
I didn't win it, but I think I made the final.
You did well.
I did it right, yeah.
Enough to raise eyebrows.
It raised a few eyebrows,
yeah.
And I was like any Kiwi back then, you know, getting into sport and that. I just did it as a recreational activity. I enjoyed doing it as a way of exercising. I didn't really think of it as a career back then. it wasn't really. Back in the 90s, very few people were making it a career.
Oof.
So I got paid a few $1,000s and I was a teenager, so I thought that was best thing ever.
Okay, so the next question leading on to that is, once you realised snowboarding was becoming a thing,
Yes.
were there changes that you made right away to your normal life?
Yeah, most definitely there were. Snowboarding became more of a focus, and I guess because it wasn't cheap to snowboard, and it still isn't cheap to snowboard, I had to try and supplement my lifestyle, and so through that, most of my work and my jobs were work, and they were basically trying to get me to a stage where I could snowboard more. So I worked at night and I worked for different people, and although I enjoyed the work I was doing at the time, I only really did the work because I was looking at pursuing snowboarding.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, most snowboarders probably can, right?
Yeah.
We've worked
Whatever it
horrendous
takes
jobs
to get on that plane.
Yeah. And as a Kiwi, you do what you need to do to get overseas and try to get that sort of recognition and take your snowboarding to that next level.
Yeah, because as you said, there's not much happening in New Zealand in the 90s for
No, it
as
was
a career.
a small scene back then. It was a great scene. Looking back now, like I looked up to so many guys that helped shape my career and were very humbling to be around. Snowboarding was pretty raw back then in the mid to early late 90s. It's almost black and white to what it is now, with it being a mainstream Olympic discipline, and it's in every household on TV now. So
Exactly.
back then it was very local and raw, and I think I quite enjoyed that part of it. Yeah.
It's humble beginnings.
It was.
So let's just, while we're here off the list, is there someone you want to shout out from? Is there one person in particular
From back then.
from back then?
Oh wow,
Just for fun?
man, that's so hard to answer that. As a youngster, there were so many people.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know there's lots,
That's
so it's
all
not making them the best.
No.
Is there one?
No, there's definitely a lot more than one. But as a younger brother, naturally, I always followed what my older brother was doing. He's 2 years older, and he was a really good snowboarder back then.
Great skateboarder too.
Great skateboarder, pretty good, great sportsman.
I met him before I met you at Queenstown Skate Park.
Oh, classic.
He was just ripping. Who's this guy that's never been here before and ripping?
Yeah, he's
I'm Tim from Wanaka.
yeah.
Right, Tim from Wanaka. Keep ripping.
Keep ripping. Well, he still rips, I can inform you of that. Yeah.
I can imagine.
He had a big influence on my snowboarding career coming up. We rode a lot together, and he snowboarded before I did, so naturally I looked up to everything he did, what he wore, what music he listened to, who he rode with, what stance he rode, how baggy his pants were, everything. I just
Really?
wanted to copy it.
Shout outs Tim Jackways.
Yeah, so he was probably my initial biggest influencer. I mean, he still influences me now. But really the conversation is too hard to narrow down to one other person. There were,
of course,
too many people to think.
We could have two bloody short stories about
Yeah.
It'd become long stories.
I know, and I don't want to go. I don't want to lose you any followers.
That's follower. Okay, so now, obviously you've done a lot of sports, so perhaps this isn't just snowboarding in particular, but for me, snowboarding did a lot of this. So I wanted to ask you, what did snowboarding reveal to you about yourself? Did it make any of your characteristics come to surface, or did you learn something new about yourself through
snowboarding? Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean, snowboarding isn't a team sport, and that's what I largely grew up playing as a kid. So when I discovered snowboarding, it was quite surreal, because I'd been in an environment where I was participating in sport as part of a team. So to snowboard back then, and to even snowboard now, is a way of expressing yourself as an individual, and I think that really was something that attracted me to snowboarding, because even now and back then there was no right or wrong way to be a snowboarder.
Yeah.
You could take the mountain and do with it whatever you wanted.
Blank canvas.
And it was great, yeah. Like, back then I was, I didn't struggle at school, but academically I wasn't the brightest kid around. So snowboarding maybe helped me with the pathway, and it also gave me a different social crew of friends. So it's given me, it's definitely made me look at life in a little bit of a different light.
Okay.
I don't it has taught me a lot of life lessons. Basically, from when I started snowboarding right the way till now. You know, I'm still learning about myself and still learning about the mountains.
Yeah.
Back then, did it teach me a lot of lessons? Yeah, it definitely did. Can I remember every single one of them right now? I probably can't, to be honest.
We're not going to run through them. You're
No.
okay, buddy.
But it did, yeah, and it helped. It really helped shape me into being an individual. I think that's probably what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and if I could sum it up, like a sense of self.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
found a sense of yourself through snowboarding.
Yeah.
I found it a little bit in skateboarding.
Yep.
Until that point, I'd been the shortest kid in class,
Right.
and I was good at some stuff, but I became pretty good at skating.
Yeah, cool.
And so, oh, geez, you're pretty good at that. And then I was like, yeah, I am, and I love it.
Cool.
So that gave me a real, you know, it wasn't that I needed people to tell me that, but it's like, yes, I love this, and
Yeah.
I am good at it.
Great.
So it made me feel good about myself.
Self-esteem, yeah.
Yeah, and snowboarding did the same thing.
Cool.
You know, like snowboarding was just like, wow, man, like it was the same, exactly the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like so having
Purpose.
success in something.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure it's with anything in life. I was having success with it, and when you have success with it, and it's something you care about,
Oh.
it gives you a good a positive sense of self.
Hugely. It gives you a sense of self-purpose.
Yep.
You know, why we're here, and
Yeah.
like being happy.
I mean, but it's all like how you said, it's individual. It's like I heard a comment the other day, like no two methods are the same. Was it Ed Lee that said methods like a fingerprint?
Yeah. That's a good comment, Ed, for sure.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Ed Lee.
Yeah.
So-
Shout out to Ed Lee.
Yeah, so but that goes back to your blank canvas thing, right? So you're like we say you and I go on snowboarding and we come up to a jump, for example. You can do whatever you want off it, and I'm going to do whatever I want off it, and there's no wrong answer.
Yeah,
and it's whatever you're feeling like, you know, and that's
For sure.
that's
What's the beauty about it, though.
creative.
Yeah, man. No, you nailed it, RJ. It's really a way of expressing yourself as an individual.
Wicked. Good answer, Will J.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that one just came to me. It wasn't premeditated at all.
So here's the real kicker for me.
Yes.
I never travelled before until I caught a plane to go to Queenstown
All right.
to start a season. That was my
Okay.
first airplane flight.
Wow, cool.
Okay, and then I just went to go snowboarding.
Yes.
I had no idea that snowboarding was going to turn me into a traveller,
Wow.
a globe-trotting traveller.
Yeah, ooh, dangerous.
Jeez, yeah, my name.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you've done a lot more globe-trotting than I have, but
A little bit.
travelling, just you end up becoming a traveller
Yeah.
if you want to be a snowboarder, and
Yeah.
and travelling's awesome. So I
Great.
want to get into that a little bit.
Sure.
Okay,
Shoot away.
so
yeah.
in your travels,
Yes.
where was the place that really exceeded your expectations? Has there been one place that just was like, whoa?
Oh, that's another one that's so hard to answer in a nutshell.
Only hard questions on short stories with RJMC.
That's very hard questions. They're not hard questions, they're hard to
Pin down.
sum up in a quick sentence. That's tough. Yeah, so many parts of the world that I travelled to were mind-blowing in a way that coming from little old New Zealand, as soon as I went to different parts of the world, they all basically exceeded my expectations. When I started travelling from a young age, someone gave me some advice when I was a youngster, and they said something along the lines of, wherever you decide to travel, always make sure that you have low expectations, so that every time when you go to these places, you always exceed them.
Wise.
Yeah, and it was something that really stuck with me, because I always like to keep a pretty open mind when I travel. I mean, I have a small amount of information, and obviously if I know I'm going somewhere, I like to do a bit of research and know where I'm going. But it's really key, I think, to keep those low. That way we're always pretty stoked. The one place that exceeded them, I mean, snowboarding in
Perhaps
Alaska.
unexpectedly.
Yeah,
like-
unexpectedly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. I mean, Alaska, any snowboarder who snowboards either professionally or as a hobby, you know, at some stage in their life probably wants to go to Alaska because of the mountains there, and you know, they want to challenge themselves in that terrain, or they want to experience Alaska. It's the last frontier. It's where a lot of snowboarding was, you know, filmed, and basically not born, but you know, people that go to Alaska. So the first time I went there, I think maybe that place really changed me. You know, it's raw. The mountains are massive. It's isolated to get there. You don't just stumble across Alaska. You know, like, if you go in there, you need to be pretty well prepared, and it's the sort of place that can humble someone, especially a kid coming from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I mean, all through Europe, Asia. I've been to North America, I've been to South America, I've been through Scandinavia, I've been to Asia, a lot of places, and they're all incredibly humbling. But if I had to answer, then maybe Alaska, because of the sheer size of the mountains, and when you heli there, it can be pretty daunting.
And memorable.
Very memorable.
I mean, good answer.
Yeah,
so, while we're on the travel thing,
yes.
When you do a lot of travel, I came to realise that snowboarders travel a bit more than other people.
We do.
You know,
Yeah.
Travel tips.
Travel tips.
Can you give us just like maybe just one or two, or no more than
couple tips.
Yeah, just your best travel tips. They don't have to be about snowboarding.
Okay.
Just like
Any type of advice.
any travel tip that a seasoned aeroplane catcher
Yes.
can share with the people.
Oh, cool. I think as I've become a little older and more experienced, my first tip is just to be organised, you know. I like to make sure I have everything before I leave, obviously, and I know that I've got my ducks lined up and I'm ready to go, so that, you know, the whole airports and just everything is more of a smoother transition. My best bit of advice when I travel would probably be to, when you get to the destination, go and meet the locals. Go and like branch out and like, you know, experience their way of life wherever you are.
Yeah.
It might not be something at the time that you're comfortable with, or it might be completely new.
Yeah.
But those experiences are the ones that really shape us, and they're the ones that we remember forever.
Yeah.
We go and we
People make places.
They do.
Places.
That's dead right. Yeah, and like it's nice coming from New Zealand. We can go and experience these cultures and people's way of living and their lives, and I think that's what makes us richer at the end of the day. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah, just a small piece. Yeah.
It's a great advice. Get to know the locals. I like going and finding like a good coffee, and then I might go to different places when I stay somewhere, but I'll always go back to there.
Yeah.
Because over the say 3, 4, 5 days I'm there,
Yes.
the same staff tend to be on.
Yeah.
And yep, you say a little bit the first day, and the next day they talk to you a little bit more.
First
And the
name?
third day,
Yeah.
the third day they're like, oh, da-di-da-di-da. And then I think on the fourth day they invited me out to drinks.
Yeah.
You know, and
Good
I say, and
example,
then we had good old time out to drinks, just because they made a great coffee.
And you made more effort, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did they, because they were like, he keeps coming back. He's like, because a lot of people are in and out, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
They blow in, they blow out.
exactly, mate. Coming from Wanaka, you'd know about that. So, we're jumping back into snowboarding. Why does snowboarding mean so much to you? What do you think?
Why does it mean so much to me? I think it means so much to me because at the end of the day, it's given me pretty much everything that I have in life. You know, like I'm like to think I'm pretty humble and appreciative at the best of times, but when I look back now and I'm a dad and I'm going to be 37 in a few weeks, like it's a nice time to reflect and be like, man, everything in my life has come through snowboarding. My wife, my 2 kids, we own a property in Wanaka, and like that's all come from snowboarding and the people I've met and the connections I've made. So I think it's a hard one to answer, but it's important to me because it's basically been my life for the last 20 years. Yeah, and I would never change or throw that away for anything in this world.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right answer.
That's exactly the right answer, mate. So that brings me to ask you some questions more directed just at you.
Yes.
And my first one I have for you, Will J, is how is having a family? Because you know this is the newest chapter of your life.
Yeah, well, it's not that new. She's almost 5, so yeah, but it is new. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, any dad out there can relate to well, any parent, you know, can relate to my answer in saying that having a family is the best thing in the world. Like it gives us that whole fulfillment of really why we're on earth and as human beings, and to find that one person that you're connected with, and then to be fortunate enough to be able to create beautiful children is a blessing, you know. So it's challenging at times managing everything with snowboarding and running a business now, and also having time for family and friends and doing things outside of snowboarding, and spending time with the kids, which is something in life that I'm most fond of doing.
And important.
And incredibly important, yeah. So it's all about finding that right balance and making the time for things, you know. Like I said, it's tough at times, but I wouldn't change a thing for the world. I love my kids and everything. Yeah.
Last, not this trip, but I know last time for Winter Games, you and the family were up the hill a little bit, and you sort of bumped into each other. Now you're teaching the kids.
Yeah, we
now you're sharing, because Will's wife Abby's an amazing snowboarder too, and
snowboards well. Yeah.
And now you're both getting to share this thing that brought you two together.
Yeah.
With your next little generation.
Oh, it's crazy.
Choice.
That's incredible. That feeling of passing that down to them is something that's pretty hard to explain. And we're incredibly lucky living here in Wanaka and having support from Padrona and that. Like the facility they have up there and the environment that they create is just incredible for families and for any people wanting to experience the mountains. So I think when we take our kids up there, it's hard to explain it. It's incredibly rewarding watching them get it, and we don't push them into the snow. I'd be happy if they wanted to do any type of activity.
Or polo.
Yeah, or if they didn't want to even go up the mountain, or they wanted to go up and just throw snowballs and then go down, that would be fine as well. But it's cool. It's very, very rewarding.
Their DNA might say otherwise.
Deep down, I'd be a bit like, come on.
Their mitochondrials are already churned in that direction, mate.
I think, they're only 4.5 and 2.5, so there's plenty of time for them to develop their skills on the snow. And right now, it's about just getting them up there and creating a fun environment for them.
And I like how that you've got the mindset that you're not like, you're going to be the next, Shaun White, or you're going to be the next Chloe Kim or whatever. You're like, hey, if you're into this, great. Which is cool.
I think every parent has to have that approach, to a degree when they're that age. But
well, that's what you do.
That's what we do. Yeah.
I know you're quite the golfer.
Oh right, yeah, I enjoy my golf. Yeah.
So I want to. The next question is, how did golf come into your life?
Golf came into my life when I grew up. When we moved to Wanaka, we lived in a property here for a long time. Probably over almost 20 years, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Give or take. And it was situated almost right next to the golf club.
Oh,
it's on Anderson Road. We could just walk down to the little par 3 on the corner, and we had buckets of balls that we used to stash in the pine trees. We were members of the course, of course, but we used to go down there and hit, after school and that, just for fun. And I think golf was always something I enjoyed back then because it was like snowboarding. I could play as an individual. It was a great way of reconnecting and having time myself. And as a keen sportsman, I enjoyed the feeling and the satisfaction of playing good golf shots, because as anyone knows, golf's pretty bloody hard. And right now, all the way up until now, I just kept playing golf through my upbringing, my teenage years and my 20s, and it's something I hope to play right the way until I die.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the feeling of playing golf. I enjoy travelling with golf. I enjoy the camaraderie with golf, and it's something that
the challenge of golf, because it's
very challenging.
You can
sport.
never make the same sweet shot twice sometimes.
Very hard to do that. So it's just something that I enjoy doing outside of snowboarding. I've got a good network of friends in Wanaka that we golf with, and it's just another aspect of my life that I enjoy pursuing.
So do you want to talk a little bit about Explore Niseko? Sorry.
Oh,
Explore Wanaka.
Sure. I mean,
we have an Explore Niseko too. It's not Will, but it starts the same way.
Yeah, those guys run a great operation. Yeah.
That's your new thing.
Yeah. Abby and I started it about 2 years ago, as a way of we were really wanting to start something that we could be passionate about and stay involved in the industry that's given us so much. With the way that we saw Wanaka shaping up, and with our connections in the snow industry
and your knowledge,
I guess, and experience, we thought it would have been it is a cool idea to have a dabble at doing this. It's like kids as well. It's not easy. It's bloody challenging, and it takes up a lot of our time. But it's been really exciting. The first year, things take a while to get going. There's a lot of learning involved. It's not just diving in and hoping for the best. There is, accounts, there's social media, there's marketing, there's all sorts of meetings. There's a lot to learn starting a business, so it's challenging.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see some really cool rewards now.
Great.
Over the last couple of years, this winter's been busy. Last winter in Japan was busy. This winter in Japan we're fully booked out, and we've marketed our product to visiting brands and production crews that are coming out here, and they're looking for an on-ground coordinator and facilitator, and we've realised that there's a nice little mold there. Yeah, so it's really cool. It's nice to have people that come here to visit and they have a goal in mind, and when they achieve it they go back and they're really satisfied. So it's cool. It's a nice way to stay involved, and it's also a good excuse to keep trying to live the dream.
Yeah. So I was going to say last time you were in my neck of the woods, Niseko, but really you've been going there blooming 4 times as long as I have. So last time I was in your neck of the woods.
It's everyone's neck of the
woods. You were showing some people around that were filming.
Right, yeah. Did you want to talk
a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I reckon that's a pretty cool thing.
It's a really cool aspect of what we do with the business.
Yeah.
Like we offer a tour guiding service both in Wanaka and in Japan, where we take clients and customers to Japan and in Wanaka. A lot of the clientele we take to Japan are overseas production crews, snowboarders primarily that are looking to film content and create basic
awesome snowboarding footage.
Exactly, yeah. So we
first class snowboarding footage.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We've been fortunate enough that we've had been able to get some really good business and secure some good customers through that. So yeah, a very small part of what we do is take people to Japan and guide them around there, and it's proving to be a really cool part of it. Yeah.
I was commentating the big air under Tom's Rock just the other day, and an Asian lady was walking up and she was sort of looking around. I was like, you can come over and stand over here,
cool,
if you like.
All right,
you know. And I didn't recognise her, when everyone has their snowboard get up on.
Of course.
And this lady strolls on over.
Cool.
And I was like, hello, and then it's Yuka Fujimura.
Oh wow.
Who I know quite well.
Oh yeah, Yuka.
And I'm like, Yuka. She's like, RJ.
Cool.
Oh. And now, she was part of the crew you were showing around in Niseko.
She was, yeah. She
said you were awesome.
Oh really?
By the way.
Oh wow, that's very kind of her to say that. Shout out, Yuka. Yeah. We worked with her, Jamie, Jess. A really cool female crew this past January. Jamie Anderson has her own project, I believe, coming out, and so we were a very small part of facilitating her time in Japan. And Yuka was a pleasure to hang out with. She's incredible.
She's bubbly.
Very lovely lady, incredible snowboarder. And so we spent about 2 weeks with them doing location guiding and a bit of transport and that. And I look forward to seeing the finished product come out. Jamie was outstanding to work with. I mean, I can't really say enough good things about her. She's incredibly professional, and with her snowboarding I was blown away on a daily basis. So
she's the real deal.
We're big time, yeah. So we were very fortunate to get that job, and we hope that we can continue getting that work moving forward.
Yeah, I would say that I think probably a shoe in there, my friend.
Thanks, RJ.
Okay. So speaking, you just said moving forward, didn't you?
I did.
Beautiful. Because guess what my very next question starts with?
Moving forward. Meant to be.
Bro, that was unrehearsed. Moving forward, Jay, what's important to you now?
Right now?
Yeah, what's important to you now?
Oh,
I mean, I know, because
going out and playing golf and stuff.
There you go. There you go.
What's important right now? Obviously, my kids are incredibly important to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're at an age now where they are learning so much every day, and they're quite hands-on kids. We don't just plonk them in front of the TV and leave them. We like doing things with them. Awesome. They're into biking, they're into snowboarding, they're into drawing, art, music. So we really enjoy trying to embrace our time with them as much as we can. My family is incredibly important to me. Mum and Dad are up a little bit from Dunedin. They spend a bit of time in Wanaka, so I enjoy spending time with them as well. We and my brother and his wife live around the corner, and also really enjoy spending time with them as well as my own wife. And I think at the end of the day, if we can get our business and what we are wanting to do with that to the right stage, and we can also have a good quality of life and create a good environment for our kids to be brought up, that's about happiness for us, I think.
Me,
Yeah,
me.
I think
All
that-
these things lead to happiness in the end.
they kind of do, right?
Yeah, wonderful. So, having travelled to all these places and done all these things and having all these wonderful people in your life,
Yes.
what's the single best piece of advice you've received that works for you? Because I know people love to give advice out.
Oh, it's
but
good.
What's the one? Can you think of one? That, like, someone said da di da and you were like, oh yeah, and then what do you know? Buddha buddha boom, that came through in a bunch of things in your life.
Wow, that's another such tough one to sum up. In
Only the tough questions on
They
short
are,
stories.
they're brutally tough, these ones. One bit of advice, like you say, people are always keen to give advice, and I really appreciate that.
Mhm.
You know, I like to be pretty open-minded and take people's advice on when they're kind enough to give it.
Mhm.
One bit of advice, it's tough. I mean, at the end of the day, people that come from New Zealand say that it's really important to be humble, and I think that is important, but at the end of the day, if you want to get somewhere in life, you really have to put yourself out there. You can only be humble to a certain degree. I think the best piece of advice that someone ever gave me, and it's simple advice, is just to go out and work bloody hard.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're not going to get anything in life these days just by sitting back. You've got to put yourself out there. You've got to be a good communicator. You've got to make time for people. And at the end of the day, if you can balance everything and work hard and have a good work ethic, then I think that leads into good opportunities. I think. I'm still learning.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that would be the one bit of advice that sticks, like anyone.
It's
knows
fantastic
that.
advice.
It's just to go out and work hard for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Because it's
If
nothing
you
comes
want it.
easy. If you want
If you
it.
want it, go get it.
Yeah, and we all should strive to want something in
Yes.
life, right?
Yes.
And I want happiness.
If
so-
you want something,
Yeah.
it gives you purpose.
Exactly.
When you have purpose, you have a more sense of fulfillment.
Yes, and yourself
When you have a sense of fulfillment, happiness comes.
exactly.
And when you have happiness, you share it with the people around you,
Yeah.
and more people are happy.
I should be interviewing you, man. That's a good answer.
We kind of are, you know?
I think, I hope I've answered that in a way that
It's beautiful,
makes
mate.
sense,
There's
because-
no wrong answers on short stories with RJMC.
Yeah, cool. Work hard. Go out and work hard
Yeah,
for it.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. You touch on humble, and I nearly skipped over this question, but I've known you for a long time, and as we get older, we will get a little bit better through practice. But to be honest, mate, you were a lot like this when I first met you a long time ago.
Look like what?
You're wise beyond your years.
You think so?
Will J.
Ooh,
I
I'm
think so.
not exactly young anymore, so.
No, but you know, we met a long time ago.
We did.
So I was just wondering if perhaps you know why you're wise beyond your years. Do you know why?
Ooh,
Or have you always been like this?
No, I wouldn't.
Should I ask your mum?
Oh, get her on the phone. Well, I think you've kind of nailed it there without even knowing. I think a lot of people's persona and their nature comes down to how they were brought up and how they were raised. Both of my parents, like I said, were trained phys ed teachers, so they're teachers by trade, and we had an awesome upbringing. You know, very humble middle class upbringing. Mum and Dad were incredibly supportive of the decisions we made as young adults growing up. They were always there to support us in what decisions we made, and they taught us, I guess, the true values of life. You know, how to approach people, how to greet people, being polite, being courteous, using manners, things like that. They really taught us from a young age. I mean, I don't think I'm wise. I'm no wizard or anything, but it's nice of you to say that.
It's just a part of your character trait. And I mean, when we're working around snow comps together,
Yes.
I've seen you in front of the media. Sometimes I've been involved in being the media and had to interview you for for little bits and pieces.
That's right,
But
yeah.
then I've also seen how you talk with other people and how you've talked with me. And there's been a very real consistency to it, Will.
Cool.
Right?
That's good.
And it's a lot of people aren't like that.
In what way?
They're not always consistent, and it's not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just been something I've really noticed in you. It's one of the traits I admire in you.
Cool, man.
So I was wondering if you knew, and I think your parents are
I
a
think
good
that's-
answer. So
the-
shout outs to the Jackways.
Yeah, your upbringings are so important, and can really be a massive influence on the person that you get shaped into be. So I have to give a huge amount of credit to Mum and Dad for for taking care of us as and looking after us. So
Tick that box.
that's nice of you to say that. Thanks, RJ.
Well, it's just the truth, mate.
Yeah.
So let's finish on this question, because it doesn't have to be about snowboarding, all right? But it helps if it's random.
Random's good.
So because we plan to do cool things, like you said, get organised, do this, travel, and then cool things happen. But it was kind of planned, right? You planned for that cool thing happened. What's the most random epic thing? Like truly, like whoa,
Travel story.
or just in your life. Like all of a sudden this thing happened, and where did that come from? And that was like totally epic.
Wow.
Have you got one of those?
Just one again. Another
I
hard
know.
question narrowed down to one.
I plan on having you back for more in season 2, so
I'll come back.
You can save a couple.
Cool. I'll save a
Have you
couple.
just got one you can think of?
Random, was that the key word?
Yeah, randomly epic.
Randomly epic. Well, I mean, I hate to be too cliche or cheesy, but I guess when we found out we were having our first kid was incredibly epic.
Yeah.
And as a youngster and even a young adult, I always wanted to become a dad and like have a family.
Yeah.
So I think when we realised we were going to embark on parenthood, it was incredibly epic. That was probably the one thing that took me from being like here to being like, all right.
And you weren't expecting that?
I mean, we were. We talked about starting a young family.
Yeah.
We had just gotten married, so
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't completely out of the blue. And I think that kind of humbles you as a person when you realise, you know, you not only have you been able to conceive a child, but you're also about to bring them into this big modern world now.
It's happening. It's definitely happening.
Yeah,
There's no more talking about it.
No,
It's happening.
Oh, for sure. And
Okay, cool.
It's a pretty special feeling to be able to share with someone that. I know it's not quite the answer. Like it's not like crazy snowboard travel story about
Doesn't have to be.
someone doing something gnarly, but I think that's probably one that stands out for me because as a young adult, you know, next thing you know, we're becoming young parents, and that's a huge step to take in life. So that was something that really, gave me a huge amount of fulfillment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Will.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for having me over.
It's totally my honour.
Yeah, you're a good guy, RJ.
Hey, you're alright too, mate.
Oh.
So look, obviously, as you could tell from Will, he's got lots more answers, so I'm sure we'll see him again back on Short Stories with RJMC. All Jackways, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Thanks, RJ. Good one, man.